think I can see your beard. I see.
You can see my beard? Oh no!
I think I can see your beard. I see.
You can see my beard? Oh no!
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
What's your name?
Nico.
Miko? I'm Isabella. What's your name?
Kristen.
Kristen? Nice to meet you. I'm Isabella. How are you doing?
Good.
Good. Are you nervous?
Yes.
How come? Do I look scary? Do you know what I am? No? I'm a drag queen. Have you ever heard of a drag queen before? No?
What is a drag queen?
A drag queen is someone who expresses themselves creatively through performance. So dress up in wild costumes, big wigs, crazy makeup, and then get on stage and perform and entertain people.
And I know why you're speaking like that.
Like what?
Like, you look like you would speak in a different way,
Yeah?
but now you're speaking different. So now I know we're a boy. And I know why you're speaking like that.
Like what?
Like, you look like you would speak in a different way,
Yeah?
but now you're speaking different. So now I know we're a boy.
I'm a boy. You're right. I'm a boy. I'm a boy.
Wait.
What?
You didn't think I was a boy?
I've been thinking.
You thought I was a girl?
I've been thinking.
No, I'm a
you're
boy. How do you feel about that?
A little bit weirded out, but like a little interesting.
Interesting? It's a lot to think about.
Do you always dress up as a girl?
Not always, only when I'm performing. I usually live most of my life in jeans and a t-shirt and a backwards ball cap.
That's really cool. So you're gay?
I am. Good question.
Did you curl your eyelashes?
I did. I use an eyelash curler. But yeah, your previous question, I am gay. I came out of the closet when I was 21 years old.
What's coming out of the closet means?
Coming out of the closet means when you tell everybody that you're gay. It's something that gay people have to do.
Do you have to be gay to do drag?
No, anybody can do drag. Drag is for anybody and everybody who wants to put on a fun costume and get up on stage and entertain people. Everybody should try drag at least once. It's really fun.
Even kids?
Yeah, there's actually quite a few kids that are starting to do drag.
Do dogs do drag?
Do dogs do drag? I mean, they can. You can dress a dog up in a dress and take them on stage with you.
So, why did you want to get to be a drag queen?
Why did I want to be a drag queen?
Or what's your inspiration?
Great questions. I first went and saw a drag show and thought it was really fun. And so I started playing with makeup and wigs and costumes and things and then started performing and just fell in love with performing. I love being on stage. I've been a singer my entire life. Do you like to sing?
Yeah.
What do you like to sing?
I like to sing Moana.
Moana? What about you? Do you like to dance?
A little.
A little? Just a little bebopping?
I like to do this dance called the floss.
What's that?
Like this.
Oh, the backpack kid dance. Yeah. It's called the floss?
Yeah, because it looks like you're flossing your teeth.
Oh, I get it. I'm into it.
Where did you get this sword? A sword.
This dress, I got, I had a designer make it for me.
What?
Yeah.
Is that a costume?
It is. Everything that I wear, I refer to as a costume.
Like Halloween?
It's kind of like Halloween every day. That's what I get to do for my job is Halloween every day.
Except the candy part, there's no candy.
Sometimes there's candy.
Are your eyelases real or fake?
Oh, they're definitely fake. I glued them onto my eye.
Glued.
Yeah.
What about the gems over there?
I glued those on too.
What about the lipstick?
The lipstick I just painted on.
Paint.
Yeah, and then I tapped glitter into it.
Glitter.
Yeah, glitter. I like everything to sparkle a little bit. I say if you're not sparkling, you're not trying. Right? Do you ever wear sparkly things?
Not really,
Not really. How come you don't wear anything sparkly?
because I think some people at school make fun of me.
Well, those people, their opinions aren't important.
Do people ever make fun of you?
When I was younger, people did, but that's because, you know, kids do that. Kids can be mean. There's been a few times that I've encountered people that weren't quite as nice and were a little bit judgmental. What?
I know what to do. Just don't speak, because then they think you're like a real one.
Don't you think I should just be myself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever wish you were a girl?
I don't. I like being a boy, but I enjoy dressing up like a girl. It's really fun.
What does your family think about your job?
You know, at first they were a little unsure of it. They didn't quite understand what I was doing. But as they learned more, they've opened up more to it. What would your family say if you were a drag queen?
Get out of this house.
Really?
That's what my dad would say.
Well, you know, you can change people's minds.
Yeah. I'm pretty much not weirded out now.
You're not?
Yeah, I'm
Good.
comfortable.
Anybody can do anything they want. If they want to wear a dress, that's fine.
You just
if
need
they
to
want to wear pants.
believe.
Yeah. Just believe in it.
Thank you, Isabel.
Thank you guys. It was great to meet you. It was so good to meet you.
Hampton?
Yeah. I'll see you later.
See you later.
Go out like that.
Yeah, girl shoes on.
Kind of looks like Tinkerbell.
Bam! Wonderful. Hello?
You're wearing high heels.
I am wearing high heels. I'm Ruben. Do
Hi, Ruben.
you know what we're doing today?
I think they're talking about you.
There you go. Are you sitting in my seat?
Yeah.
Oh my God, are you going to ask the questions in the interview?
Yeah?
This is the first time that I've been back at school since I left Australia.
Your eyelashes are a bit too long.
They're real, by the way. My parents were cousins. No, I'm kidding. They're fake. They're fake. They're fake.
good.
When did you like dressing up like that? What age?
I've been dressing up like this since I was your age.
God, you must be well old.
Do you think I look normal?
No.
No.
You are normal a bit.
I'm normal a bit? I feel so hurt. Is that the laugh you're going to use all day? We're going to move on to something. Do you like what I'm wearing today?
Bit too much. Why do you have makeup and lipstick and glitter on?
Because I think it looks pretty. You don't think it looks pretty?
Why do you have makeup and lipstick and glitter on?
Because I think it looks pretty. You don't think it looks pretty?
Do you have a girlfriend?
I think it might be a boyfriend.
Boyfriend?
Yeah. What do you think about men who wear makeup?
You can't put it into boys.
Who said?
The penguin over there.
The penguin? The penguin believes in binary gender roles? I love it.
Would you be gay or would you not be gay?
Have you met a gay person before?
No.
No. Am I the first one? Do you know what that means? More celebration!
Again?
Again? Okay, 1 second. Oh, no, I don't have the budget for that. It's only Channel 4.
Did you go to school like that?
Yeah. And school wasn't actually a fun time for me. I was a different kid. I was a young gay kid and I liked to dress up, and I liked to sing and dance, and I wasn't into sport.
At least you actually have the guts to do things
Thank you.
what other people can't.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I feel like everyone should be who they want to be and people shouldn't tell them what to do.
I think so too. That's really well put.
Haters are gonna hate you, just gotta be you.
Do you think I should do what I want to do?
Do what you want to do.
Yeah, I think so too.
If I was there, I would have helped you. I think everyone would.
This is the first time I've been back to school since my times in Australia, and you have made me feel so much better about the whole thing, and that possibly school right now in some places isn't as bad as it once was. You two are brilliant.
I know.
So I'm not going to be before you long, but then we do have a lot to uncover, a lot to unpack, and a lot to talk about with these two clips that we just saw. So then for the people that are part of the congregation or the people that are watching this today that have children, then this is exactly why then I specifically stay on this channel, and also the other teachers at the other channels of the King James Bible University. Then they stress to you that are with children that you have to be very attentive of what's going on in their worlds. So you need to be paying attention to what they're looking at on their cell phones, what they're looking at on their social media devices, and if they have those, and exactly what's going on in school, and even knowing what's being taught on their curriculum. Because in what you just saw, those two clips, and that's not entertainment, that's not some sort of a skit, then this is actually going on in real life. And just with the observations, moving on to the observations of the videos, then you can tell that the children, they look uncomfortable. You even had one that admitted that he was nervous. You had one that admitted he was weirded out. And you can tell just by the posture of the children and just by the questions that they're asking these grown men that they know that something is amiss, that it's not right. Which then this right here defeats the narrative that children can sometimes, and they just be born towards than one of these non-standard sexual type lifestyles. Then that's not the case. Then it starts with sickos, just like the two that you saw in the clip. Then they influence their minds to believe such a lie. And also with the teaching them about coming out of the closet and not worrying about the opinions of others. And then they also share with these young children, which is also inappropriate, the troubles and struggles of their own childhoods because of different opinions of their fellow classmates. And what happens is they're looking for some sort of a desired response, a desired action from these children, and out of guilt, then they are looking for these children to change their perspective and their outlook on people that are living in that sort of lifestyle. Then they're looking for the young children to be more receptive to that lifestyle, and they're also looking for these children as they get older to make peace with people that are walking in that wicked lifestyle. And as the children of the Most High and also saints, then we're not supposed to be having any sort of agreement with darkness, nor do you want your children to end up missing a kingdom behind something like this, because then it is abominable to the Most High. And I'm going to show you that in this little short lesson that we have. And even the young sister, and there's something else that I have to bring up. So the young Israelite sister that was in the second video, then she flat out told the guy that was sitting before her that she had never met a gay person before. So then he was the first one. And also, finally, then I'm willing to bet that these young children, just with some of the sharp and witty questions that they were asking, if they would have had the precepts, would have had some of the knowledge and understanding that we have, just even I'd say a fraction of it, they could have chopped both of those two young adults up all by themselves without any sort of presence of or aid or assistance from anybody else. They could have done it on their own. So we're going to begin with Ecclesiastes 7:29 over here on the left side of my screen. And so, lo, this only have I found, that God has made man upright, and that's the end of that thought. But they have sought out many inventions. So then we are the ones that have sought out these other imaginations and these other sorts of thoughts. Because when it's concerning gender roles, then there's only two. Then you look at what the second guy was saying in the second clip, and he challenges the gender binary roles. Then he believes that there are just more roles than male and female. Then they believe in a gender queer, gender non-conforming, and so on and so forth. Then these are these many different inventions that they've sought out in this context, because God made man upright. So we'll see this over here in Genesis 1:27. So God created man in his own image, so in his own likeness. In the image of God created he them. So enter that thought. So male and female created he them, full stop. Or otherwise it's known as a period. So you don't see any other roles there. Then it's binary. So you have male and you have female. Then you don't have a cross. Then you don't have the LGBTQ there. Then it is what it is, and that's not going to change, nor is it open for any interpretations, nor is that going to contradict in anywhere else in our volume of our book. So moving on from there, then we have something else that we have to talk about. Then there's just a second observation. So though young in age, none of the children, they were deceived. From the very beginning of their meet and greet, they each one of them, then with their own one-on-one meet and greets, then they all know that they're dealing with sick, creepy men sitting in the presence of them right in front of them. And you can draw this just from the observations that the young children are making. So you had one little girl, then the youngest one, the smallest one, looked right up at that guy's face and said, "I can see your beard." Then you had another one that asks, "Okay, why do you have that dress on and you got makeup on and lashes on and lipstick and glitter?" Then you had another child that told him straight up, "Then I know then you're dressed a certain way, but now that I hear you talking this way and not like before, then I know that you are a boy." And right after then he made that statement, then the old sicko that was sitting across from him had nothing else to say. Which, then I'm going to pull a precept. So we're going to go to Matthew, and we go to chapter 26. And we will park it at verse 73. "And after a while came unto him they that stood by, and said to Peter, Surely thou also art one of them, for thy speech," that's the reason why, "bewrayeth thee," then it gave you away. And then I'm using this verse to draw back to what we saw between that boy and then that one part of that clip and the sicko that was sitting across from him. Then you can try and deny it, then you can try and also pretend to be something that you're not, but your spirit, your speech, and it gave you away, then I can tell that you're a boy. Then we had a few children ask them, were they gay, straight up. And then we had one, then that was my favorite young child in the video, then the one that asked him straight up, what it answered straight up when he was questioned, what does he think about men dressed as women? Then that young boy straight up told him that you can't put it on to boys. And he actually quoted a precept, and whether then he realized it or not, or whether any of the bystanders watching the interview realized it or not, or whether those two that were there realized that themselves or not either, which we're going to dig into that. And I showed you the scriptures while the clips were playing, but now then we're going to get into it and talk about it. So we have Deuteronomy, and we'll look at chapter 22 and verse 5. So this is Deuteronomy 22 and 5. "So the woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment. For all that do so are abomination unto the Lord, the Spirit of thy God." So this scripture, then, it has two different senses. It has a natural sense and a spiritual sense. So beginning with the natural sense, so the woman and the man each have their own respective apparel. which are distinguishing factors for each sex. So we're not supposed to be cross-dressing as seen in a video, and even with when we move on and look even at the entertainment industry, where you have a lot of these black male actors and even non-black male actors, they'll end up playing these roles where they have to put on a dress, and they have to put on high heels and sandals and makeup and wigs, and for entertainment. Then they're trying to entertain the masses, the audiences, but it's wickedness in the eyes of the Creator. On a spiritual sense, then it's addressing confusion, then which is demonstrated through the example of the natural sense. But on a spiritual side, then it's addressing confusion, and this confusion, it's to be avoided by the establishment of a difference between flesh and spirit. So concerning this journey that our spirits are in it's a world, God, then he has a set way in place. We're supposed to be separated unto him from the world. So that means that there's no gray area or no middle ground. And anyone saying or speaking contrary, then they're not of God. So we're going to use this right side, and we'll go over to 1 Corinthians, and we'll look at chapter 14, and we'll start with verse 33. For God is not of confusion. And the reason I said it this way is this author, the word the author, then that's italicized. So the translators, and they put that in there to give this text additional clarification. But when you remove the italicized words out of it, then it just reads, for God is not of confusion, but of peace, as in all churches of the saints. So the people of the sanctuary. So then he's not of confusion. Then his word, then there's no sort of gray area, then there's no middle ground, then it's in absolutes. Then you have a black and a white. Then we also have 1 Corinthians 14 and 37. So this is what we're going to look at next. So if any man think himself to be a prophet or spiritual, let him acknowledge that the things that are right unto you are the commandments of the Lord, which it's even with this Deuteronomy 22 and 5. So then that's the first precept with this teardown. Then we have more that we have to look at. So in the same book, 1 Corinthians, then we're going to go down to chapter 15, and we're going to look at verse 40. So there are also celestial bodies and bodies terrestrial, which then we'll stop right there. And when we're looking at this verse, Deuteronomy 22 and 5 on the spiritual side, that's one body. Then that's a celestial body. Then when it's saying the woman, and you're looking at this on a spiritual sense, then that's talking about a spirit. That's one body. Then we have the man that's right here. Then that's the celestial body. Then just as what you're looking at on the right side in 1 Corinthians 15 and 40. So there are also celestial bodies and bodies terrestrial. But the glory of the celestial is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another. So before we move on, just to reiterate, then we have two bodies here. Then we have this celestial body, which is talking about a spirit, the woman, and then we have this terrestrial body, which is talking about flesh. So moving on from 1 Corinthians 15 and 40, to tear this down some more, then we're going to hit Sirach 33, and we'll go down to verse 11. In much knowledge the Lord has divided them, and made their ways diverse. So the ways of the spirit, then it's diverse from the ways of flesh. Moving on from here, then we're going to also look at Songs of Solomon. So now we're moving on to Songs of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 3. And this is a key right here. So I have put off my coat, so my covering, how shall I put it on? So then the question is being answered. it's being asked. I have put off my coat, and how shall I put it on? So I have washed my feet, so my desire, and you washed and sanctified it with the word. How shall I defile them? Because that's exactly what's going to be going on. Then if you end up putting your coat back on, then he told us, even when you look at Matthew chapter 10 and verse 10, that we're not supposed to be taking 2 coats apiece for this journey, which, I'm going to look at it. So we have Matthew chapter 7 and verse 10 all the way to 11. Matthew chapter 10 and verse 7 to 10. And as you go, preach, saying, so the kingdom of heaven is at hand. So heal the sick and cleanse the lepers, raise the dead, cast out devils. Freely you have received, freely give. So provide neither gold nor silver nor brass in your purses, nor scrip for your journey, neither 2 coats. So got these 2 doctrines here. Not supposed to be doing that. That's confusion. Neither shoes nor yet stakes, for the workman is worthy of his meat. So, which, moving on from here, then we're going to run 2 more precepts, which is going to solidify this understanding right here. So now we're going to go to Isaiah, and we'll go to chapter 30 and verse 1. So woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, to the Spirit of God, that take counsel, but not of me. And that's the end of that thought. And that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. So wicked thought after wicked thought. Just as with, and we're looking at these 2 bodies, celestial and telestial, just as what we've seen in Sirach 33 and 11, then in much knowledge are they different from one another. Their ways are diverse. So the flesh, then it's contrary to the spirit. Then the flesh, it's going to lust against the spirit. So then if you're taking on this covering and you're mixing these coverings, you're not going to be able to do the things that you're supposed to be doing on this journey. And this is why then we don't mix. This is why then it tells you not to mix seed either. So we're going to go to Galatians, and we'll go to chapter 5, and we'll look at verse 16 through 18. So this is the conclusion of the matter. So this I say then, walk in the Spirit, and you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the Spirit, and the Spirit, and its contrary, then it's against the flesh. And these are contrary the one to the other, so that you cannot do the things that ye would. But if you be led of the Spirit, you are not under the law. So, and under the law of flesh and sin and death. So then these are the precepts that you have to meditate on when you go back and you're looking at this Deuteronomy 22 and 5 and what it's commanding of us spiritually. Then we're not supposed to be mixing. And if you're trying to fulfill everything that's required of you, then as a servant in this journey, you have to put one of those coats down, and you have to take his covering, and you be covered with the word and not with flesh, because you won't be able to do the things that you're supposed to do. Then you're going to be doing things that are abominable. Just as with those 2 guys that are in the clips, both of them, and if you notice, it's no coincidence, both of them, they're homosexuals. And just when you're also covered with flesh, then it's going to create that spiral. Then you're covered with the shadow of Egypt. Then it's not in my lesson, but another thing that you have to keep in mind is that the Spirit of God, then it's one Spirit. Then it has many different operations and many different administrations, but it's one Spirit. Now the spirit that Satan gives you, then it's a legion. So then you get one of those spirits, and then he's going to start sending you many more of them, and it's going to keep making your state worse than what it was before. So then we have to make sure that we're taking the right covering on this journey. So moving on, then we have another observation that we have to look at. And this is observation, this is the next one. So the longer that the children converse with those drag queens, that is, their tolerance towards that lifestyle, then it started changing the longer that they was talking to those two grown men, and becoming more accepting of gender non-binary persons. And really the biggest mistake that those young children they made was engaging in conversations with those two anyway. But nevertheless, now then we're getting ready to go into another set of precepts. So we're going to go to 2 Corinthians, and we're going to look at chapter 11, and we will look at verse 3 through 4. But I fear, lest by any means, as the serpent, so this person with this low-down two-tongued doctrine, beguiled Eve through his subtlety, so your minds should be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Christ. For if he that cometh preaches another Jesus, or another salvation, whom we have not preached, or if ye receive another spirit, which ye have not received, or another gospel, which ye have not accepted, ye might well bear with him. So what's going to happen is if somebody, then they're coming to you, they're preaching another salvation, they're preaching another sort of a message, they're preaching of another spirit, contrary to what we have received through the preceptual understanding of this King James 16:11, it's going to end up corrupting your understanding, and it's going to corrupt your mind. Then that's what that's telling you right here. And to build on this, then we have to go to Proverbs, and we'll look at chapter 7, and we'll go down to verse 21 through 23. Oh, then I went too far. Okay, Proverbs chapter 7 and verse 21 through 23. So with much fair speech she caused him to yield. And that's exactly what happened to every last one of those children that was in the video. Then if you look at their thoughts on those two men at the beginning, and it was one thing that something is amiss. By the end of those sit downs with those grown men, then they had already yielded, and then it's evil, then it's wrong. And this is what these children are going to have to deal with, and this is why this lesson is being brought forth to you today, so then you can be equipped and know what's going on, and with that sort of intel, then you can make the necessary adjustments so your children or you yourselves, and you won't get caught up with these fiery darts. So Proverbs 7 and 21, taking it back from the top. With much fair speech she caused him to yield. With the flattering of her lips she forced him. So he goeth after her straightway, as an ox goeth to the slaughter, or as a fool to the correction of the stocks, till a dart strike through his liver. And with this liver, I had to take that liver, then you just pit the purification of life. And this is what's going to happen, and it's going, these fiery darts, then when it strikes through, and if you don't have that armor, and you're not strengthened with the whole armor of God, then this right here, then these fiery darts that are coming from the adversary, then it's going to strike right through your pureness, and you're going to become dirtied and corrupt. So this liver, then that's the purification of life. As a bird hasteth to the snare, and knoweth not that it is for his life. And we'll also go down to verse 24 and 25. So hearken unto me now, therefore, O ye children, and attend to the words of my mouth. Let not thine heart decline to her ways, go not astray in her paths. And this is talking about those paths of the strange woman. So just right from here, then we have something else that we have to look at. So just with these darts. So this wasn't in my lesson, but now then it's something that I want to bring forth. Then we're going to head over to, we'll go to Ephesians, and we'll go to chapter 6, and we will look at verse 14. That's what we'll start with. Actually, no, we'll go up to verse 10, and we'll go all the way down to verse 17. So Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 10 down to 17. So finally, my brethren, so be strong in the Lord, the Creator, and in the power of his might. So put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, having done all to stand. So stand therefore, having your loins girded about with the truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helm of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. So that's what's going to happen then if you don't have that whole armor. Then those fiery darts that are being always projected towards us from the adversary, then they're going to pierce right through. And it's going to pierce, as it's saying in Proverbs 7:23, it's going to strike right at your liver. So moving on from there, the next verse that we have to look at, because now we're still focusing on how this strange woman with her spare speeches, since she could cause us to yield. So we're still focusing on Proverbs 7:21, this Ephesians 6:10 through 17. It wasn't in the lesson, but then it came to my mind. So now, leaving here on the left side, we will go to the book of Daniel, and we'll go to chapter 7, and we're going to stop right over at verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints, so the people of the sanctuary of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. The reason why we're over here is because of the overall agenda of those two drags that was up there at those schools, and they were there to try and get those young children to change their mind. Then this is what the adversary wants you to do. Then we know that the Creator, as in Psalms 89 and 34, then he doesn't change. So, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given unto his hand until a time and times in the dividing of time. So then I referenced it, but just for the people that have newly joined the body, then we have to run that verse anyway. It's just a good thing for all of us teachers, to always treat our lessons as if it's somebody's first lesson. So now we are going to go to Psalms 89, and we'll look at verse 34. My covenant will I not break, nor alter the thing that is gone out of my lips. Then this is straight from the Spirit of God. So then he's not going to change. Man and flesh, then they change. The adversary, then he tries to get us to yield. The Creator, then he's saying that he doesn't alter anything. And that even goes right back to what we were talking about in Genesis 1:27. Then he made male and female. Then all of this gender queer, gender non-binary, this LGBTQ, then he has nothing to do with that. Then you can't pit that on him. Then that's something that man has done of their own wicked inventions. but he's telling us that he doesn't change. So the conclusion of this matter is we have to head down over to 1 Corinthians, and we'll go to chapter 6, and we'll hit 19 and verse 20. Let's see. No, this is the wrong verse. Sorry. So it's not 19 and 20. That's not it. It's 9 and 10. So my apologies. And it's 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 9 and 10. So know you not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of God. This is what's going to happen, and if we're getting caught up with flesh and with the shadow that's over this world, then we know that the world and it's given into the hands of the wicked. That if we don't constantly meditate in this word, then we're not, studying, doing our due diligence, always getting our daily portion. What'll happen is this can slip your mind. So know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of God. Be not deceived. And this is what they were trying to do. Then they deceived those young children. Neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, those are homosexuals, nor abusers of themselves with mankind, nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards, nor revelers, nor extortioners shall inherit the kingdom of God. Then that's a given, and there's nothing to add or subtract from that. And it doesn't matter how many are a walking contrary. And we can even, since we're talking about it, 2nd Esdras, chapter 7, and we'll go to verse 20. For there be many that perish in this life, because they despise the law of God that is set before them. Doesn't matter then how many people may gravitate towards that dark side, and where they're showing respect and they're walking in agreement with LGBTQ. It doesn't matter how many. Then the scriptures, and it's telling you in so many different areas that there's going to be more that's going to perish than to see life on the other side. And this is even in Matthew, where it's saying, straight is the way that leads to life, and broad, then that's the way that leads to destruction. We'll also hit 2 Peter, and we'll go to chapter 2, and we'll look at verse 6 through 8, and we have an example. So for the people that are holding towards that lifestyle, so the people that are being contrarians, that is, to what's in the scripture, then you can always ask them, okay, why did the Creator destroy Sodom and Gomorrah? So we're going to look at some of this right here with 2 Peter chapter 2 and verse 6 through 8. And turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an example unto those that after shall live ungodly. So the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah, then that is the example, then that's the blueprint. Then all of us that are doing the same as the people that were over there in Genesis that got overthrown, then we're going to suffer the same fate. Then that's not going to change. It doesn't matter how many. Then we just look at what we've seen in 2 Esdras 7 and 20. And delivered just Lot, vexed with their filthy conversation of the wicked. For that righteous man dwelleth among them, and seeing and hearing vexed his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. So just even with Lot, then he was dwelling amongst them, but then he was not walking after their wicked ways, and he was taken out. Then the rest of Sodom and Gomorrah, then they were destroyed. And just one of the last thing, because I said I wasn't going to be before us all long, then we're going to just look at Proverbs chapter 22, and we'll look at verse 6 right here. So train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. So with this scripture right here, then this should be a call to action to all of the adults that are with children. You know, on top of everything else that you have to do, from ordering your home, from your career, and all of the other obligations you have, then this right here, the training of your child, and that's an additional, that's a duty within itself. And if you want your child to have that best shot at salvation, you have to put forth the time and the investment into your children to make sure that they know right from wrong, that you're giving them examples and you're showing them all of these examples, all of these mysteries. Then if you're going people watching and you take your children with you so they can see what you see and you can teach them what you know. And if you continue to teach them as they get older, then they're going to have what it is in a battlement. Then they're going to have that defense, that protection. So, you know, when the adversary that's out here is dealing and throwing all of these darts, then we'll have that armor to protect us. Which, you know, I'll just go ahead and put it here. We'll go to Deuteronomy 22, and we will look at verse 8. And this is spiritual. When thou buildest a new house, and you just keep in mind what's over in 1 Corinthians 3 and 16 and 17, then thou shalt make a battlement, which that battlement, then that's protection for thy roof, and for your head, that thou bringest not blood, so wicked lifestyle, then that life upon thine house, if any man fall from thence. So just in wrapping up, then we have one clip that was passed along to me some time back, then I thought now would be an appropriate time to play this. But after the clip goes over with, then I'll be finished with you all for today. And if you have any sort of questions or comments or concerns, you can send me an email or you can leave a comment in the section below, and get ready to play this clip.
Hello, I'm here to speak on behalf of our younger children and their academics. This book, It Feels Good to Be Yourself, which has an oxymoronic title based on its content, can be found in 26 elementary schools. It is geared towards K2, and as Macmillan Publisher says, it basically is geared toward ages 4 through 8. It introduces 4 different characters with different gender identities. It makes it seem as if gender is an imaginary concept that can be changed on a whim, when the truth is gender is factual. You're either a boy or a girl. And gender identity, what you see yourself as, that's imaginary. Well, let me read you a couple of things. First character is Ruthie. She's a transgender girl. That means when she was born, everyone thought she was a boy until she grew a little older, old enough to tell everyone that she's actually a girl. Then there's her brother, Xavier. Xavier is a cisgender boy. Which 4 through 8-year-old knows what cisgender means? Can they spell cisgender? That means when Xavier was born, everyone thought he was a boy, and as he grew older, it turned out everyone was right. He was a boy. Then there's Alex, the friend. Alex is both a boy and a girl. Then there's JJ. JJ is neither a boy nor a girl. Ever since JJ was very little, they never felt exactly like a boy or girl. They just felt like themselves. This is JJ's gender identity. Some kids feel like girls. Some kids feel like boys. Some kids feel like a little bit of both. Part boy, part girl. Reminds me of that old commercial. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Is that okay? Some kids don't feel exactly like a boy or a girl. They feel like neither. Some kids feel that their gender identity isn't always the same. It's often changing. So now are we endorsing schizophrenia? What are we doing? Whether you feel like a boy or a girl or neither, if you describe yourself another way, that is your gender identity. When does this foolishness stop? When you shroud lunacy, insanity, or fallacy in colorful words and pictures to be read to young children, you have created an unsafe environment, since we're talking about safe environment, right? Where does it stop? At this tender age, our children should be learning their ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. Who authorized this? Who told you that you are God? Who gave you permission to tell our children who they are and who they're supposed to be? This is intentional and evil at its core. Get back to what you were elected to do and formally educate our children, not indoctrinate them with left-wing ideologies under the guise of providing a safe and welcoming space. Hear us clearly. We will not surrender our children. Leave our children alone.
Wow, God bless this lady. She's doing the Lord's work. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section. Bro, this book can be found in 26 schools that she knows of, and the book is for 4 to 8 years old. Think about targeting kids 4 to 8 years old. And she said something that I totally agree with regarding that dumb term cisgender. Can you find me a 4-year-old or 5-year-old who knows what a cisgender is, bro? Or who cares what a cisgender is? Do you think 5-year-old, 6-year-old care about cisgender male, cisgender female? You can't make this up. She said she was fighting and she was there to represent kids. She did it. Amazing. God bless you. God bless her. Catch you on the next one.